What's up, guys? Alvaro here, and welcome to the Bilingual Stock Market channel again. Let's go ahead and talk about some stocks and about the craziness that we saw today in the markets. And today we had another very crazy and insane day in the markets. We have so much stuff going on that it is very, but very tough, guys. Making a complete summary of all of the stuff that we saw today in the markets. First of all, we saw an amazing comeback today of the Nasdaq 100 and the Russell 2000. The Russell 2000 went up today 0.35%. The Nasdaq went up 0.41%. When it comes to the Dow Jones and the S&P 500, both closed today's trading session in the red, but pretty far away from the lows of today's trading session. The Dow went down 0.49% and the S&P 500 went down 0.24%. Take a look at this chart, guys. These are the futures of the S&P 500. So the futures opened yesterday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, very, but very negative, very red. And near midnight, guys, the futures of the S&P 500 hit 4,261 points. And afterwards, and until the high of today's trading session at 4,385 points, a level that was hit at 11:34 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the S&P 500 had seen a 3% rally, an intraday rally of 3%. So this is becoming the norm, and this isn't the norm, guys. We usually don't see this sort of volatility in the markets. Let me pull up here once again Yahoo Finance. Crude oil went up today 4.65%, and gold also went up 1.24%. The VIX went up today 10%, and it actually, I think that it closed today's trading session above 30 points. I need to make sure of that. Let me see. Yeah, 30.15. And the 10-year Treasury yield got absolutely dismantled today, guys, on concerns that sanctions on the Russian economy might affect the European banking system in a negative way. So TNX, or the 10-year Treasury yield, gave up the support of 1.90%, and it closed today's trading session at 1.83%. If we take a look at the sectors of the markets, check this out. We only had three sectors going up today. Energy, obviously the best performing sector by a long shot throughout this year, went up today 2.52%. Industrials went up 0.75%. I actually took advantage of the rally in industrials, and I took a day trade on Boeing that I am going to show you guys in just a second. And consumer discretionary went up today 0.65%, mainly because of Tesla. Tesla had a super day today, going up something like 3 or 4%. The financial sector got absolutely killed. Obviously, you guys know that the financial sector is correlated relative to the 10-year Treasury yield. So since TNX, or the 10-year Treasury yield, went down today something like 8%, the financial sector wasn't going to go up with that underperformance of the 10-year Treasury yield. So the financial sector went down today 1.48%. And something that caught my eye, guys, was the underperformance of REITs, of the real estate sector. The real estate sector went down today 1.71%, and usually, for the most part, the real estate sector is inversely correlated to the 10-year Treasury yield. So today we saw a day in which TNX got absolutely killed, and the real estate sector also went down. And speaking about Tesla, guys, I just told you that consumer discretionary went up a lot. No, it didn't go up a lot, but it did go up today. 0.65%, mainly because of Tesla. So keep in mind that tomorrow we are going to have the State of the Union. So President Biden is going to be addressing the nation, tomorrow after 7 p.m. And I think that in the case of Tesla and most of the EV stocks out there, pretty much all of the EV stocks had a very solid day today. NIO, Tesla, and so forth. Lucid Motors, that is reporting earnings today. I think that the markets are kind of buying the rumor and then selling the news, because obviously tomorrow we are going to have President Biden talking about the electric vehicles. Let's say if he talks about Tesla, we will see what happens with that. He's going to be talking as well about electric vehicle related infrastructure and so forth. So we saw a very nice electric vehicle pump today. Keep also in mind, guys, that, and with so many things that are going on Wednesday and Thursday, we are going to have once again Mr. Jerome Powell testifying in front of the House. On Wednesday, he's going to be testifying in front of the Committee on Financial Services or something like that. And then on Thursday, he's going to be testifying in front of the Senate, in front of the Committee of Urban Affairs and whatever it is, right, that committee. So that is obviously going to move the markets. And I think that Mr. Jerome Powell is going to be asked about the situation in Ukraine. So that is also going to be very important. When it comes to the Russia and Ukraine conflict, you guys know that today a meeting was held in the Belarus border between delegations of Ukraine and Russia. No agreement was found over there. And they said that they are going to get together once again on Wednesday, the same day that we are going to have Mr. Jerome Powell testifying in front of the House. So Wednesday isn't going to be for the faint of heart. We were having today, guys, afternoon, a very solid rally. S&P 500, Nasdaq 100 turned positive, actually. And then the Russian Foreign Ministry, Mr. Sergei Lavrov is his last name, said that those nations supplying weapons to Ukraine will bear responsibility if those weapons are used during the Russian military operation. So that obviously spooked the markets. The markets don't want the conflict in Ukraine to get worse. And obviously, whatever happens with the markets from now on is going to depend on the news cycle that comes from Ukraine. Something that is also worth pointing out about today's trading session is that we saw some sort of decoupling of Bitcoin relative to the Nasdaq 100. Very interesting price action when it comes to cryptocurrencies. I actually opened a new positions last week on long-term positions on ETH and Bitcoin, and those positions as of now are flying, lucky enough. When it comes to earnings, guys, this is going to be a very interesting week. So tomorrow before open, we are going to have Target, Baidu, Domino's Pizza, and Workers, also Kohl's reports, and AutoZone report tomorrow before open. Then after close, we are going to have SoFi, AMC Entertainment, Plug Power, CRM, Context Logic, Dutch Bros, Bionano Genomics, and Nordstrom. Very interesting lineup for tomorrow's video, no doubt about it. And before going over the indices, I want to show you guys some trades that I closed in today's trading session. Boeing, guys, I purchased a call option. I took a trade with a call option. I purchased the $195 call that expires on June 17. I paid $1,959 and I closed this trade being paid $2,175. I ended up making over here $216. I also, let me show you over here. There you go, NIO. Okay, so I sold covered calls of NIO, guys, based on my long-term position. I sold 4 contracts for covered calls of NIO with a strike price of $35. These are lips. I mean, these aren't lips because they expire in January of 2024. These are lips. I thought that they expire in 2023. So they actually expire on 2024. So these are lips. I sold 4 contracts on February 4th, and I was paid $2,240, and I ended up buying back these 4 lips and I paid $1,940. So I ended up making over here $300, and I also closed a position on SoFi. Let me show you here over here. I had a very solid day today. I was able to take a bunch of good trades. So in the case of SoFi, let me pull up here the history of SoFi. So on February 23rd, I purchased 300 shares at $10.33, and I paid $3,098, and I sold out of these 300 shares today, and I was paid $3,339. I ended up making over here $240, so $241 actually. So I ended up making today $757. Guys, I just finished filming this video, and I just noticed that I forgot to tell you about the seasonality chart of the S&P 500. So listen up. Today was the last day of February. February was a negative month for the markets. January was also a negative month for the indices, the markets in general terms, except for the energy sector, which has been the only positive sector so far this year in the markets. So now the question is, what could be potentially happening in March? So take a look at this seasonality chart of the S&P 500. So usually January is a negative month for the markets, as you guys can see over here. Then February starts in a positive way, but then we sell off into the closing of the month. However, March, from a historical standpoint, is usually a positive month for the markets. So if the markets do what they usually do from a statistical standpoint during the month of March, so this month might represent a relief for the markets. We might see a recovery of the indices and most of the stocks out there. And needless to say, guys, keep in mind that on March 15, the Federal Reserve is going to start the new cycle of interest rate hikes. And I have told you over here in the channel on plenty of occasions that the markets have been doing during January and February what they usually do before we have the beginning of a new cycle of interest rate hikes. So the markets usually anticipate that move. They move ahead of time. They price in ahead of time the beginning of a new interest rate hikes cycle. So the markets have been doing what they usually do. We know for sure with 100% of certainty that the very first interest rate hike is going to be announced on March 15, when we have the next Federal Open Market Committee. So we have a bunch of evidence from a historical standpoint that point out at the fact that we might see finally a positive month in the markets during March. So now go ahead and keep on watching the content of this video. I had a very solid day today. I can't complain about it. When it comes to the indices, guys, this is going to be an easy one. I believe, guys, and I said this in one of the videos that we posted last week, that the bottom is in. In my opinion, the bottom is in. I don't know if something crazy happens, between Russia and Ukraine. I don't know if Russia maybe attacks Poland or any other NATO country, and maybe, I don't know, World War III starts out. I mean, that obviously would change the technical situation of both the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100. However, if the conflict in Ukraine doesn't get worse, which I hope for that situation to be the case, then I think that the bottom is in. However, from a technical standpoint, we have to admit that the bears are in absolute control of the S&P 500. The bulls of the S&P need to take on as soon as possible the 200-day moving average at 4,460 points. Until and unless the bulls are unable to burst above the 200-day moving average, then the bears are still in control of the S&P, and everything can happen. Even though I don't believe that we are going to retest 4,114 points, which happens to be the lower support that was hit on Thursday of last week. In technical terms, the most important area of support that the bulls need to keep, that the bulls need to defend, is going to be 4,330 points, 4,330, We are talking about a former area of support back from mid-October, and we are also talking about a former area of support back from early July. The relative strength index, the RSI of the S&P, is at 51 points, very healthy from a technical standpoint. So maybe the bulls, if obviously the news that comes out from Ukraine happens to be positive in the upcoming days. So I think that this gap is going to be filled, and maybe we can see the bulls bursting above the 200-day moving average, in which case they are going to start to, let's say, get in the game when it comes to the S&P 500. When it comes to the NASDAQ 100, this index ended up going up today 0.34%, and it closed today's trading session at 14,237 points. The most important task, and mind you, and as I just said in the case of the S&P 500, in my opinion, the bottom is in 13,065 points. I could be mistaken. I have been mistaken before. However, I think that unless something unexpected happens in Ukraine, or something unexpected happens with the Federal Reserve, obviously, because that's another concern of the wall of worry as of now, I think that the bulls have a first shot of taking on eventually the next important resistance at 14,400 points. We are talking about a former area of support back from early October, and also a former area of resistance back from late June. And in the case of the NDX, guys, there are a lot of repairs to do over here, no doubt about it. And why? Well, because for the bulls of the NDX, in order to be able to get back in the game when it comes to the NDX, they need to burst above the 200-day moving average at 15,100 points. They are pretty far away from this, from this area. They still need to do a lot before being able to fill this gap up to the 200-day moving average. However, the RSI of the NDX is at 54 points. So I think that if at least they can burst above 14,400 points, and by doing so, if they are able to reconquer the 50 SMA on the 4-hour chart, they are going to start to gain some steam in order to make another push higher and eventually being able to burst above the 200-day moving average. In terms of support, guys, the most important line of defense for the bulls of the NDX is going to be 13,990 points. We are talking about a former area of support back from January 27th. And now let's go ahead and take a look at the earnings reports of today's trading session. The most important earnings reports, at least from what I said. Lucid Motors. What is going on in the case of Lucid? And Lucid is down after hours, right? Let me pull up here the 1 day, 1 minute chart. Let me see. Yeah, it is down a lot. And you guys know that in the case of Lucid, so Lucid is down 11% after hours. I own 100 shares of Lucid. I sold one covered call today in order to hedge in front of a potential negative earnings report of Lucid. You guys know that this is a company that is barely starting to make some revenue. So when it comes to these kind of companies such as Lucid, Workhorse, Ride, and so forth, Virgin Galactic, the most important metric or the most important information that we need to keep a close watch on when it comes to earnings reports is guidance, guys. So let's see what happened over here. Okay, Lucid Q4 sales came in at $26.40 million, missing the estimate, wow, by a long shot, guys. The estimate was at $36.74 million. Do we have any EPS over here? I don't think so, right? I mean, Lucid cut, here we go, guys. You see? Guidance. Lucid cut full year 2022 production guidance to 12,000 up to 14,000 vehicles. Cites the extraordinary supply chain and logistics challenges we have encountered and our unrelenting focus on delivering the highest quality products. This is what I have been telling you guys. Ramping up productions when it comes to manufacturing vehicles is very, but very tough. So they cut the production guidance, okay, to 12,000 vehicles from 14,000 vehicles. I mean, that's a nice haircut, guys. 2,000 vehicles. So let's see what could be potentially happening in the case of Lucid. So it is going down after hours. I think that this dip is going to be bought up, guys. This is a very let's say attractive stock when it comes to retail investors. And remember, Lucid trades inside the Nasdaq 100. If the Nasdaq 100 happens to keep on recovering as a whole, that is going to be helpful for Lucid. So in terms of maybe taking a trade on Lucid, $24.50 is going to be an important spot for the stock of this company. $24.50 acted as lower support in early February. So if the bulls of Lucid can hold $24.20 each, maybe, since we're talking about a former area of support, we can see a bounce back up, guys, in which case the bulls of Lucid might be potentially being able to fill the next gap up to a very important area in technical terms for Lucid, $28.50. A previous area of resistance in which the stock of this company failed on multiple occasions throughout February. And we are also talking about a former area of resistance back from mid-September and also back from mid-July of last year. So if we were able to take this trade from $24.50 each up to $28.30, we are looking at a 12% profit. So $24 is going to be an area of interest, no doubt about it, in the case of Lucid. And mind you, guys, if $24.20 each happens to be broken to the downside, we have a nice gap down to be filled down to $21, a previous area of support back from mid-February. So this is going to be an interesting stock to be seen tomorrow, because Lucid is a very let's say attractive stocks are for the retail crowd. So let's see if this dip happens to be bought up tomorrow, and as I said, guys, if the Nasdaq 100 keeps on recovering, that is also going to be helpful for Lucid Motors. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the second stock of this video, Zoom Video Communications, which is down after hours, I'm thinking, right? So Zoom went up today during regular trading hours 5.81%, and it closed today's trading session at $132.60. So let me pull up here the 1 day, 1 minute chart. Zoom is down after hours, but just, I mean, not a little, 6%. Yeah, it is down after hours. Let's just put it that way. This is one of the favorite stocks of Cathie Wood. So what happens over here in the case of Zoom? So EPS came in at 86 cents. No, this is guidance, guys. Okay. Q4 EPS came in at $1.29, beating the estimate by a long shot of $1.05. Sales came in at $1.07 billion, beating the estimate of $1.05 billion. So Zoom beats on both, guys, sales and EPS. Guidance. I have guidance. So Zoom sees Q1 adjusted EPS from 86 cents up to 88 cents versus $1.05, guys. Wow, this is a big miss when it comes to guidance. And sales, or Zoom sees sales from $1.07 billion up to $1.75 billion versus $1.1 billion estimate. So, yeah, guidance is very weak, even though this company was able to beat on both sales and EPS when it comes to Q4, but guidance is very weak. And, guidance, and mostly when it comes to growth stocks, which would be the case of Zoom, is very important, guys, when it comes to earnings reports. So, guys, Zoom is a no-touch below $138. There is no way that I am going to touch this stock being downtrending like this. You guys can see here on the 4-hour chart a terrible technical downtrend. As of now, Zoom must be something like 80% of the highs. Let me see. So all-time high for Zoom is $588. So Zoom is, as of now, 80% of the highs. This company, if we apply the logic of the bottom once a bubble bursts, because obviously, guys, Zoom at $588, sorry, was a bubble. And you guys know that when a bubble bursts, from a statistical standpoint, they used to bottom out 80% of the highs. So if we apply that logic, then we could make the case that Zoom should be about to bottom out at somewhere between $110, $120. But this is a very ugly looking chart, so this is a no touch unless the bulls of Zoom can take on $137 per share. We are talking about a former area of support back from late January and also early February. And the third stock of this video is going to be a Smile Club. What is going on over here in the case of a Smile Club? It is down after hours. What stocks go up during, or what stocks have gone up after having reported earnings during this earnings season, guys? Wow, the markets are being absolutely relentless. So in the case of Smile Club, it went down during regular trading hours today 0.90%, and it closed today's trading session at $2.19. So STC is down after hours 4.22%. So what happened over here? Let's see. Okay, Smile Club. Q4 EPS, this is a negative EPS. This is a company that isn't making any money as of now, right? Isn't making any profit as of now. So Q4 EPS came in at negative 25 cents, beating the estimate of 27 cents. Sales came in at $126 million, missing the estimate of $127.71 million. So they missed on sales, but they beat on EPS. Okay, guidance, very important. So Smile Club sees full year 2022 sales from $600 million up to $650 million versus $667.45 million. So guidance is very weak over here. And by a long shot, guys, from $650 million up to $667 million, which was the estimate. So it was an acceptable earnings report, nothing crazy. And Smile Club is down after hours. And obviously, guys, figure, if I told you that Zoom is a no touch, figure about Smile Club. So we can, if we want to see things last a full, maybe we can make the case that the stock of this company is trying to bottom out slightly above $2. $2 has acted as support on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 occasions recently. So if the bulls of SDC can keep on holding $2 as lower support, that might be a sign that they are gathering momentum in order to make a push higher and maybe fill in the next gap up to $3, which happens to be a previous area of resistance back from early February. And the last stock of this video is going to be Lordstown Motors, right? Which reported earnings earlier today, pre-market. So RIDE went down today 20%, and it closed today's trading session at $2.57. And let's talk about a horrible technical chart, guys. Jesus. So I think that I have a report over here, guys, that has for the most part a summary of the earnings report of Lordstown Motors. So let's see if I have the information here handy. Okay, Lordstown stock falls 17% to lowest in a month. So let's see. Okay. So Lordstown Motors, the total operating expenses rose 120%. They are trying to ramp up production. So I mean that's that's kind of expectable, right? So they lost $84.6 million. They burned $84.6 million in Q4 of last year. So the company held $244 million in cash and equivalents as of December 31st. This is not a lot of money, guys, when you are trying to ramp up, the manufacturing process of vehicles. This is not a lot of money, guys. This company is in a very tough situation. They only have $244 million in cash. Okay, the company said it is working toward finalizing the Foxconn technology, whatever transaction, including the contract manufacturing agreement, and seeking an agreement and funding structure to develop new vehicles in collaboration with Foxconn based on the MIH platform. So they are seeking an agreement and funding structure. Yeah, they need to find some money somewhere, otherwise they might go under, guys. So Outlook Lordstown reaffirms the third quarter 2022 target for commercial production and sales of the Endurance. This is going to be the pickup truck that they want to manufacture. Okay, Lordstown sees commercial production and sales of the Endurance of about 500 units in full year 2022 and 2,500 units in full year 2023. We will see what that ends up playing out like, because $244 million in cash, guys, that's the cash that you guys have, and you want to ramp up production. I don't know. This is a tough one, guys. So I guess that some of you haven't realized losses when it comes to Ride. This is a horrible technical short, guys. The stock of this company is an absolute no touch until, I would say, Ride can burst above $7.41. So if any of you has a position on Ride, guys, you'd better pray. or be ready for the worst case scenario, guys. And with Ride, I am going to wrap up this video. Thank you very much for your attention, and thank you very much for hanging out with me once again. Remember, and keep in mind, guys, that here on the Bilingual Stock Market channel, we are posting stock market update videos Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, 3 or 4 hours after the market closes. So if you want to get all of the notifications of all of our videos in a timely manner, you have to be subscribed to this YouTube channel, but you also need to activate the notification bell right up there. Follow us on Instagram as well, guys, at Bilingual Stock Market. And remember that this is the Bilingual Stock Market channel, the YouTube channel, in which we talk about the markets, but we do things differently because we talk about the markets in 2 different languages, English and Spanish. So you can pick your preferred language, but most importantly, this is the YouTube channel in which we know that the wonderful world of Wall Street is not for geniuses, it is for entrepreneurs, just like you guys and myself. My name is Alvaro, and I will see you guys tomorrow once again, 3 or 4 hours after the market closes. Peace out.